A group representing small businesses is calling for retail lease reforms, such as rental caps and limits on foreign-owned shops, including tighter foreign worker quotas. It is already in talks with Enterprise Singapore and hopes to reach some agreement in the coming months. Kate Low finds out more.
Caught between sluggish sales and soaring rents, this optical store has had to make some tough choices, like cutting hours of its part-time staff and downsizing by almost half.
If we were to keep the same unit, I think it's going to be very tough moving into the future, because I do see consumer spending and their habits changing quite a lot. Especially people are very comfortable with buying online, going overseas. So we rather focus our efforts in growing our e-commerce platform.
But not all businesses can pivot online. This gym, for instance, saw rent spike about 54% since 2018, now making up a third of operating costs. It considered moving elsewhere with cheaper rent, but feared that could risk losing loyal customers. A trade-off it's not prepared to make.
We are in the sports district of Singapore that is managed by essentially the Ministry of Sport, right? But run by commercial enterprises for commercial means. You know, hearing them talk about the whole Kallang Alive, we're going to make this community, but where do we fit in? You know, also because like for 7 years we've been here building this dream with you, but you're pricing us out.
In a statement to CNA, the gym's landlord at Kallang Wave Mall says the rental rate is well within market range for a unit above 4,000 square feet in size, though it declined to share details. He adds that it had extended support to Newfit, including marketing collaboration and help with lease management. Island-wide, retail rents have jumped 1.9% in the first quarter of the year, according to the Urban Redevelopment Authority. In that time, an average of 450 retail stores have shuttered monthly. Right now, retail leases must comply with the Code of Conduct for fair negotiations between tenants and landlords. But the Singapore Tenants United for Fairness, or SG-TUF, a group representing more than 700 business owners, says that's not enough.
We think it's ultimately about very short supply of prime retail spaces versus still existing and new demand, whether they are from new local players or big foreign players, continuing to express interest and willing to pay and bid for very high rentals and pay well above market prices for local labour.
Industry group SG-TUF says that the environment is stacked against smaller players. In a new white paper, they are calling for a cap on rental lease renewals, more prime spaces for local players, and penalties for landlords if they keep the shops empty for more than 3 months.
It also recommends policies to address what it calls new and foreign players with deep pockets and low-cost supply chains who are willing to pay premium rents. Suggestions include additional property tax for non-local retail tenants, reduced foreign worker quota, and higher levies.
We think it is an urgent issue. We've been calling this out for a while, but now we see the confluence of forces, rental increases, shortage of labour, high expense of labour, big increase in business costs. We hope over the next few months we can quickly come to some agreement on what are the right urgent short and long-term measures and start to implement some of them at least.
One analyst thinks that with global uncertainties, more and more international firms will continue flocking to Singapore's shores.
I think it will persist so long as we have foreign brands coming here for non-capitalistic reasons. They may think that this is a safe haven and then the weight of money comes in from countries that are much larger than ours. The local guys will then say, well, I'll give up. So we have an economy that's one will be underground and one will be above ground, and the foreign brands will likely dominate the prime locations in malls.
CNA has contacted all major landlords for this piece. Landlord says it takes a tailored approach to support tenants through different stages and formats, such as pop-up stores. Other players have declined to comment.